My dear children of class 8, good morning. As we have already read about how the British started taking Indian territories under their control. That was began with the Battle of Plassey in 1757. A century after the victory of the British at the Battle of Plassey, a momentous event occurred in India. Okay, some sepoys or Indian soldiers in the British India, they fought against their masters. They rebelled against their masters. They were joined by certain native princes who felt that the British were threatening with their power. Many ordinary people also took part in this uprising. Okay, this soon grew into a nationwide uprising. Uprising means clergy, revolt. Okay, now children, now in this lesson, okay, the revolt of 1857. Now we will read about the causes and impact of this historic event in detail. Okay, children. Children, in our study of colonial India in previous chapters, we have come across the peasants and tribal uprisings that occurred in the 19th century. Okay, these were outbursts of anger directed against British economic policies and exploitation of peasants and tribals with the hands of zamindars and moneylenders. Most of the revolts that had been revolted before 1857 were localized and erratic. Hence, the British had no trouble in putting them down using their brute force. However, by 1857, anger and distress had settled in the minds of people belonging to various sections for several reasons. The outbreak of their revolt was not the reason of any one cause, but it was the accumulated factors of various reasons and built up over the years. Okay, children, when do a revolt take place? Okay, again you read when people rebel 1857 and after. The question, when do a revolt take place? Okay, that was the question. Children, a revolt, that means clergy, is one of many ways in which ordinary people express their unhappiness with the authorities, with the British people. Revolts do not occur every day. When people feel the existing situation has become unbearable, only then do revolts take place. Okay, good leaders are required to organize mass revolts. The nature of revolts can be quick and violent and bloodless. Okay, what are the causes for uprising? Various causes are there. Let me explain the political factors. Okay, the British policies since the middle of the 18th century had gradually expelled many ruling groups from power. Children, we have read how how policies including the subsidiary alliance and the doctrine of lapse were the instrument, were the cause in making the English East India Company. That is the supreme power in India. Okay, most of the Sipais of the Bengal army came from Awadh. The deep pain among these soldiers were caused when the Awadh was being annexed by the British. That we have discussed in our previous chapters. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of the Maratha Peshwa Bajirao II, was denied his pension and forced to move to Kanpur from Pune. Okay, these events were cause of the deep displeasure, a deep pain among the rulers and the people of this kingdom. The rude attitude of the British towards the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar added fuel to the fire. La Dalhousie ordered him and his family to move out of the Red Fort, which had been the residence of Mughal emperors for centuries. Lord Dalhousie's successor, Lord Canning, said that the successors of Bahadur Shah would not be allowed to use the title of emperor. Okay, and he commanded to remove the title system. Mughal power had shrunk by this time, but the Mughal emperor still commanded respect among the common people. Such insults were seen as acts of disrespect towards Indian royalty. On the other hand, children, the wealth extracted from India was fueling Britain's colonial expansion in other different parts of the world. Okay, in 1857, British was exporting huge quantities of gold, silver, and other precious materials from India to England. This wealth was also used to finance the Industrial Revolution. Dear children, we have read about the decline of Indian handicrafts due to the one-way free trade policy and high import duties levied on Indian imports in Britain. Okay, the collapse of the craft. Okay, that spoiled the mass number of people unemployed and starving. Okay, the second one is economic factor. The harsh land revenue policies made by the English East India Company aimed at extracting the maximum land revenue. This is why they left the peasants miserable and penniless, jobless. The new zamindars and moneylenders were cruel and exploitative. Even the government offered no relief to the peasants. Hence, due to these factors, famines, famines began to occur frequently, leaving death and devastation behind. People who are working as administrative staff and workers for the kings and nobles lost their livelihood due to the displacement of ruling class. Next one is social factors. The British never tried to become a part of Indian society. Unlike our previous invaders, they continued to remain as foreigners. They were setting themselves apart from the locals. Indian locals were not permitted in the higher ranks to the administration and the army. Apart from this racial discrimination, people felt very bad about the social reforms introduced by the British. British policies such as the abolition of sati. Children, what is sati? Yes, tell me. Sati is a practice where recently that widowed women, either voluntarily or by force, they have to offer themselves. Okay, they have to sacrifice their life on her deceased husband's pyre. That is called sati. Okay, introduction of that. So these are all things were happened, and the British policies such as the abolition of sati, introduction of English education, and support for widow remarriage were looked with deep suspicion by the orthodox section of Indian society. Okay. Then religious factors also there. Many Indians came to believe that the British forced them to convert them to Christianity. Okay. These are all the religious factors. Then military factors. The English East India Company maintained a well-trained army consisting of Indian Sipais, while the presidencies of Madras and Bombay had their own armies. The Bengal army was hired from the regions in the Gangetic Valley. In 1816, a law was passed which stated that the Sipais may travel abroad if required. Okay, This news was received as a matter of concern or such a distress, okay, because Hindu soldiers were afraid that they would lost their caste if they traveled abroad. Okay, those things hurted their religious sentiments. The sepoys were often ill-treated and humiliated by the British officers. When Punjab and Awadh were annexed, the sepoys lost their extra pay for providing service in these areas. Apart from this, Indians could never aspire to high ranks in the army. Sepoys or soldiers were also deeply affected by the growing poverty of the peasantry. Okay, children. Okay, next, what are the immediate cause? Most historians believe that the issue of the Enfield rifle was known to be the immediate cause. In 1856, sepoys were issued a new gun, that is the Enfield rifle. In order to load the rifle, soldiers had to bite the cartridges covered in a grease-coated paper to make it waterproof. It was widely believed that the grease contained beef fat, tissues, and pig's fat. Okay, and pig fat, which were a taboo for Hindus and Muslims. Though British officers dismissed the entire story as baseless, but the story spread like wildfire among the sepoys. On 29 March 1857, Mangal Pandey, a soldier of the 34th Bengal Infantry stationed at Barakpur near Calcutta, refused to use the Enfield cartridges and opened fire on his superior officer. Okay, he was arrested and later executed. This incident created that the sepoys were even prepared to face death to safeguard their religion. Okay, children, what was happened in Meerut? Following the incidents of Mangal Pandey's execution, 85 soldiers of the 3rd Cavalry, which was stationed at Meerut, also said no to touch the cartridges on 24th April 1857. And they were sentenced to 10 years imprisonment on 9th May 1857. They assaulted and killed a number of European officers, including men and women. The soldiers then marched towards Delhi, which was the Mughal capital and symbolic of Indian power. Okay, next, what was happened in Delhi? The rebels reached the Red Fort in Delhi on 11th May. The rebels forced Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal ruler, to proclaim himself as the Emperor of India. The rebels proceeded to kill hundreds of British men and women, including several officers, as they captured the public offices. The revolt was led by General Bakht Khan. Okay. News of the events at Meerut and Delhi and lately reached to authorities at Calcutta. The news reached England. In the meantime, the revolt spread rapidly to centers like Kanpur, Awadh, Bareilly, Jhansi, okay, among others. Next, what has happened in Kanpur? At Kanpur, the revolt was led by Nana Sahib, who was declared the Peshwa. He was assisted by Tantia Top. The events at Kanpur proved decisive in the course of the revolt. Nana Sahib called soldiers and expelled the British from Kanpur. He declared himself governor under Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. The British were unprepared for the event which was happened in Kanpur and agreed to surrender after 3 weeks. Nana Sahib in turn agreed to provide safe passage to the Europeans to Allahabad. Okay, children, there is a controversy about the events which took place on the banks of the Ganga on June 27. It is said that 40 boats carrying the British community to Allahabad, including British women and children, were fired upon as they were leaving from Kanpur. There was a uh, massacre of British women, children, and soldiers on the boats by the troops of Nana Sahib. These incidents led to widespread anti Indian sentiments in Britain. However, no one is sure as who ordered the firing. Okay. Next, Awadh. The reason of rebellion in Awadh was the ill treatment meted out to the royal family of Awadh by the British. The annexation of Awadh had not only angered the Sipais, okay, who hailed from this place, but also displaced the landed at that people unemployed. Okay, left many people unemployed. The brave Begum, okay, Harzat Mahal led the rebels. The British commissioner during that time at Lucknow was Sir Henry Lawrence. He had time to fortify the residence compound and provided shelter to the British forces, men, women, and children. The Sepoys laid siege to the residency building for 8 months. The British managed to hold off the rebels even after suffering casualties due to the violence and sickness. Lawrence himself was killed in the fighting. Many efforts were made, but the rebels were unable to dislodge the British. Okay, so this is the factor, one of the factor in the outcome of the revolt. Next one is Jhansi. The movement of Jhansi was led by the young Rani Lakshmi Bai because of the doctrine of lapse. The British refused to acknowledge the Lakshmi Bai's young adopted son as the heir to the throne of Jhansi. This incident made her decide to join the rebels. By June 1857, the company had lost control over most of Jhansi. Children, the other uprising also spread to other areas, including Bihar. The rebels were led by Kunwar Singh. The rebels destroyed indigo factories, which had become the hated symbol of British rule. This Kunwar Singh died of war injuries in 1858. Sepoys in Bareilly were led by Khan Bahadur Khan, who was pensioner of the British government. Okay, dear children, let us discuss about the suppression of the revolt. The serious nature of revolt came as a shock to the British. Their effort to regain control over their territories was led by their best commanders, including Henry Havelock, James Outram, Colin Campbell, Hugh Ross, and John Lawrence. Okay, both sides committed atrocities in retaliation against each other. By the end of 1857, the East India Company slowly began regaining lost territories, and by 1858, the revolt was crushed. Okay. Okay, children, let us discuss the causes of the failure of the revolt. That historians believe that the failure of revolt took place due to the following reasons. One is the revolt was confined to only a few areas and did not spread to all parts of the country. The states like Bengal, Assam, Odisha, Rajasthan, parts of the Punjab and South India remain untouched by the revolt. Okay, the revolt did not get support from all sections of the society. Many princely groups like the chiefs of Naba, Patiala, Karnal and Zindh, the Holkars and the Sindhyas, as well as the Rajput rulers, maintained royalty towards the British. The intellectual class too did not participate or sympathize with the rebels. The rebels were not organized properly and did not have any plan to replace the British institutions of government. The absence of a unifying ideology also did not help. children, in contrast to the leadership of the British, scholars have pointed out that the rebels lacked strong leaders to fall back on. Although there were the brave personalities like Rani Lakshmibai, Nana Sahib, Bakht Khan, and so on, but they did not have experienced leaders for the prolonged period. Bahadur Shah Zafar was said to be said to be a reluctant leader. Okay, the lack of modern weapons and technology also led to the failure of the cause of the rebels compared to the guns and cannons available to British troops. The rebels had confront only with the swords, spears, and pickpikes. Okay, the rebels, the British also had access to good communication systems such as the railways and the telegraph. Okay, the revolt of 1857-58 continued to generate debate and controversy in terms of its scope and character. British writers writing about the consequence of 1857 called it Sipai Mutiny, attributed to the Enfield rifle. This means that the revolt was confined only among the Indian soldiers. The revolt led to the end of company's rule in India. By the Government of India Act 1858, the company was formally dissolved and the administration of India came into the hand of the British Crown. The India Office was created to handle the governance and administration of the country. The head of this department was the Secretary of State, who was also given the responsibility of the formulation of policies for India. The Governor General was henceforth to be called the Viceroy. Okay. After the transfer of the governing of India to the Crown, Queen Victoria issued a proclamation having details of the principles under which she intended to administer the country. It is said to promise religious tolerance and due attention was to be paid to ancient customs and traditions. The rights of Indian rulers were recognized. They were also assured that there would be no more annexation of their lands. A military reorganization was arranged to end the dominance of the Bengal army. The ratio of British officers to Indian soldiers was increased. The amount remained in the hands of the English alone. The resistance to the British continued through localized revolts in the 19th century. The revolt of 1857 continued to inspire the imagination of the people and made them crave for liberation from foreign rule. The impact of revolt also paved the way for the rise of nationalism in India. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.